Hello and welcome to Gabriel's 3D Printing. Today we'll be looking at this toothbrush holder and separator, upload and designed by me. First things first, we go down to the developer notes, see if they have any specifications. And they say yes to rafts, yes supports, resolution of 0.28 millimeters, infill, keep it as default, and some other notes is orientation, keep as is, and for bed adhesion, use brim. So keeping all that in mind, we're going to go up here to the download all files. And once we download everything, we're going to get a folder similar to this with 6 STLs. You see there's a number on the end, on the bottom corner, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many slots you want for your toothbrush holder. So if you have 2 toothbrushes, use the 2. If you have 4, then use the 4, etc. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to do the 6 toothbrush holder. So click on holding the STL, drag it to your preferred slicer of choice, and give it a few seconds to load in. Once it's finished loading in, you should see your toothbrush holder. Now we're going to take this step by step and follow the instructions in the summary notes. So first we're going to go to Profile, click on this tab and select a layer height. The developer recommended a layer height of 0.28 millimeters because that's really all you need. So click on that. And if this pops up, click on the discard button. That would basically erase all previous profile modifications. We're not going to mess with infill, considering it was set, I recommended default. But if you want to keep it the same as me, you can click on the tab and make sure that infill density is 20, which is basically how much material is inside the model. Next, we're going to go down to supports. Now, if you take a look around, you might see a little bit of red, but the only time you'll actually need supports will be on the circle right here. Will be just in the middle, so we will need supports, so click on this little empty box here to check it. And we're going to mess with the settings a little. Where it says support overhang angle, we're going to up that to whatever printer you have, just change it to 55. 55. And what that's basically going to do is going to limit our support need to just, like I said, the circle up here, which is really where you need it. You don't need it in these little diamonds, considering there are 45-degree angles. So change that to 55. Support density, we're going to lower it all the way down to only 5%. To whatever you have it there, just change it to 5%. And then finally, we're going to make sure that the support Z distance is set to 0.28, which is the same as our layer height. That's just going to make it a little bit easier for us to remove. Next, we'll go to the build plate adhesion. Now, I wrote that you do need build plate adhesion, so we're going to change this from skirt to brim. And that's basically because this little tab right here is pretty thin, and it is very prone to warping and getting disconnected from the bed. So if you add a brim, it'll make sure that everything prints pretty correct and doesn't move around when printing. So brim, we're not gonna mess with anything experimental, so make sure nothing's checked there. And other than that, we are set. All you have to do now is click on the blue slice button and give it a few seconds to slice up. Once it's finished slicing, you should be given a time estimate of roughly 5 hours and 55 minutes, but that will depend on the model you selected and the settings you chose. You're also going to be given a filament estimated usage of 54 grams. Now, you always preview the print and take a look around, see if anything weird or funky is going on. And you see the supports are in the circles as intended, and we also see that the brim is being printed, which is the blue thing on the floor, which is perfect. So all we do now is save the file and send it over to your printer. This is the model straight off the build plate. As you can see, we still have the brim and the supports, so we're going to have to remove those. We can start by removing the brim, which is the thin plastic at the very bottom. In order to remove it, simply pull on it until it disconnects from the model. And like mentioned before, the brim is throughout the entire base of the model, so take your time and go around it. Next, we're going to remove the supports at the top of the model. In order to do that, simply push in on them and they should fall out. Take your time and don't be too rough, as you may break the top base. So just give it a little push until they fall out. Finally, if you would like, you can post-process the model with a little bit of sanding. Whenever you remove supports from your model, you're going to notice that the sides are pretty rough and may require some sanding. So if necessary, grab a 400 grit sandpaper and rub the holes until they're as smooth as you would like them to be. Here's the model once all post-processing has been completed. The model printed out great with no defects. I've been using this model for about a week with little to no issues. The only thing is that whenever you insert the toothbrush, you will have to align it with the diamond in the bottom, such that each toothbrush has identical slopes. And as any mathematician knows, identical slopes mean these lines or toothbrush will never touch.